November of 2015, I went for a standard mammogram, said it was fine, but I found a spot. I felt it. And I told my husband, I said, I think I'm feeling something. And he kept insisting that I make an appointment to go back to get it checked out. And I said, I will, I will. And every day he'd ask me, have you called him yet? No, but I will. He said, if you don't call by tomorrow, I'm calling. So I finally gave up and I called and made an appointment, went in. They did another mammogram, came back normal. But since they could feel it this time, they did an ultrasound. The ultrasound picked it up, and there was a spot. Scheduled a biopsy, went in, and it came back positive. So it was cancer. And at that point, their decision was to have me to see a surgeon. And I went in and saw him, and they took it out. So I had a lumpectomy. And in that situation, I had 30 rounds of radiation following the lumpectomy. Um, they started me on a cancer blocker. At that time, it was estrogen and progesterone type cancer. And I got on the medication, the cancer blocker. Well, I saw Dr. Mahendrian every 6 months for 9.5 years. And I almost made it 10 years. But in April of 2025, I went in for my 9 year, 6 month follow up, and my numbers was elevated. And back in 2019, I just got 3 pulmonary embolisms in my lungs. And she told me at that time, she said, I'm worried the cancer's going to come back. And I'm like, what's blood clots got to do with cancer? And she said, when there's no signs of where they came from, that's an indication if you've had cancer before that it'll return. So I was kind of nervous about it, but I thought, nah, that's not going to happen. Well, it did. When I went in for my 9 year, 6 month follow up, the numbers was elevated. Um, Even though they were in the normal range, but for me, it wasn't a normal number. So she ordered some testing, PET scan and MRIs and things like that. And it showed up something with the lymph nodes. And so went in and had a biopsy, and it came back positive. Um, at that point, when I went in and saw her for all my final test results, she did tell me that the cancer had returned, but it was a different form of cancer, so she believed it was a new case because this time it was 100% estrogen. And so she wanted me to see a special type of surgeon for breast cancer. So IU Health, I went down and met with the doctor, and they was trying to get me in to see. She wanted me to see a special doctor, and they told me she wasn't available, and they could get me in to see someone else. And when I talked to Dr. Mahendran and told her, she said, no, let me see what I can do. I got into them next week, the following week. So, but she said this was a very rare form, and it was a difficult case. What happened was the lymph node had attached itself to the main vein that supplies the blood flow down my left arm. So I could have lost my left arm completely as far as feeling or anything. Um, Dr. Ludwig from IU Health down there, she went in and I had a complete mastectomy of the left breast. And it took her an hour and a half just to get the lymph node detached from the vein. They were not able to go completely around the whole area to make sure they got all of it. So in that situation, they did an MRI to see if there was a possibility for more radiation. And I think this is a God thing because there was one particular spot that did not receive radiation the first time. And that is where the cancer was. And they were able to do 25 more treatments of radiation. So I have actually had a total of 55 rounds of radiation on the left side. They took out 13 lymph nodes, and there was cancer in 2. Um, I'm feeling like they've got it all. There was a special blood test that was ordered That's not even been approved yet by the FDA. And it will show if what the likelihood of cancer returning, if it's in your bloodstream. Originally, when I had it done the first time, it was in my bloodstream. When I had the follow up, it was gone. It came back negative. My PET scan came back negative, and all my test results as of today have come back negative. But I just finished radiation 24 treatments just a couple weeks ago. Actually, April 15th was my last radiation. So I thought I was going to die. Anytime you hear cancer, that's what you think, that you're not going to make it. And the worst part of it was coming home and telling my husband and my kids that I had cancer. I just remember that was very hard. And I was scared. But once they got the lumpectomy and everything came back clear, I was a little more at ease. And every 6 months when I went in for my checkup, when I heard the words, "You're clear," that gave me 6 months more peace. But then when I would go in after that, on my 6 month follow up, to go in for the results, I was very nervous. And then when I got the clear, I was calm again. But the 9 years, 6 months was a nightmare hearing that it was back again.
Yeah.
And this time I literally asked the radiologist, "Am I going to die?" Because they were trying to figure out if there was even a possibility of having radiation to kill any cells that possibly could be lingering in there due to the fact they couldn't get the surroundings from around the vein. And I really thought that time I wasn't going to make it through. Second time around was totally different experience than the first time. Totally different. It was devastating when I heard the word chemo. I knew I was going to lose my hair. Um, my hair, they took off 19 inches the first time. Um, my hair I have now is 5 months growth from radiation. But that was hard for me to lose my hair. Um, and I cried the whole time when they cut it. But, everybody just kept telling me it's just hair, it'll grow back. But until you experience it yourself, they don't know what it feels like. I could not have got through this journey without God by my side. There is no way. He gave me so much strength. And I have so many people saying, "You are such a strong woman." And I couldn't have been a strong woman without God beside me, because the torment and the treatment that you go through and sitting there having chemo pumped into your body, and then the radiation, and then not only that, you have to go every week for blood work. And when you've had a mastectomy or cancer on one side, you can't have any type of needles or blood pressure or anything. So everything had to be done through the right arm. And it gets really sore after a while. And when you have to have blood there constantly, it always gets to be sore and painful. But just the second time around was so much more difficult because there was so much more involved other than a lumpectomy and radiation. This time I had to have a mastectomy. I had to have chemo. I had to have radiation and then more injections. And it was a lot worse. The first time I saw myself after removing bandages from my mastectomy, I was devastated just to see. I felt ugly and felt not normal. But then I just had to put it all in God's hands and just believe that He's going to get me through it. He got me through it the first time. He's going to get me through it the second time. And when everything came back clear, that's the first thing I done was thank God, because I know with Him by my side, I never would have got through it by myself. Well, without my family and my husband and my children and support team that I have. It was amazing. That I was scared I was afraid because I literally thought I was going to die. And it was like giving them my death sentence instead of just telling them I'm ill. It was like, I have cancer, not knowing if I was going to make it or not. Just being able to tell them that I might not be here very much longer. I didn't know at the time. And it's just hard to tell someone. Yeah, very hard. People calling and offering prayer. Um, Gilead Ministries has been phenomenal for us. I couldn't, I just can't imagine not having the support team that I've had. Um, my husband's been there every step of the way, every single chemo treatment, he has been there. I have a very dear friend, one of my best friends, took me for every single radiation that a couple, and my husband took me. I had some eye issues, so it's hard for me to drive far distance after having cataracts removed. Um, then on top of all of this, I tore my Achilles. I was in an air cast for almost a year until I was able to get that repaired. 3 weeks after I got my Achilles repaired, I had appendicitis. So I just felt like just nothing was going to change. I was just continuously having something going on and something wrong, and I was ready to give up. One night I was sitting in my chair and I just sat there and I just cried. And I just asked God, please just let it, just make it go away. I just wanted to be normal and to be able to live a normal life. I'm getting better day by day, a little stronger day by day. And I have God to thank for that. He's given me my strength back. And it has grown my faith so much knowing that He's been there by me this entire time and that He's not going to let me go. He has something planned for me or I wouldn't still be here. When I lost my hair, and it was in the winter, so I had no sun to get a suntan, and I had somebody actually say, do you have any self-tanning lotion? And a person had told me someone said this, and I said, why do I need self-tanning lotion? Well, your head's awful white, you should put something on it. And from that point, I would not go out of my house or go anywhere in public without wearing a hat. It was very hurtful, and it made me feel very self-conscious about what I look like without having any hair. And people just kind of stare at you, but they don't know what it's like until you experience it yourself. And people say harsh things like that. It just really hurts. Just believe and have trust and faith in God, and He will get you through it. You just have to pray and ask for strength and just trust. You just got to trust Him. He's going to get you through. Don't give up. Just believe that you're going to make it through. Stay strong and trust that God will be with you through the whole process. And just try to fight. Don't give up. Just fight with every beings that you have. Just don't give up.